Welcome, everybody. Hello. And it's Friday again. And guess what? It's Tech Talk Friday. So, welcome everyone down to this edition of Tech Talk Friday. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first Tech Talk for this month of August. Hope everyone is safely at home, watching us on whichever platform that you prefer, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, as you join us in the show, if you saw the teaser that we put out on Wednesday, Thursday, yeah, one of those days, yeah, we put out the teaser. You are part of this show, so hope you've left us some questions already, especially the producer who's always there, making sure that we are online and great with you guys. He will let me know if you guys got some questions coming from whichever platform that was already there, or if you feel you want to drop a question while we have the conversations with our guests today, please do. Yeah, you are as much as part of this show as we are questioning the guests. And remember, this show is brought to you by Necole, the app that is there to actually accelerate your skills, your growth, your development, and your future. So if you want to find out how you can start self-directing your learning and development today, go on to Necole.app. And if you want to get your access to Necole today, make sure you see the promo code that is on the scroller down there. That is Roshan T Lead 30. All right, use that code and you get 30% off with your subscription to Necole. So please do that. We've got some news about that later on the end of the show, some campaigns that we're running, some things that we are bringing to you, some events that we have coming along real soon in this month of August. So that at the end of the show, but let's get on with the meat of the show. So today, Karam decided to change feng shui of his house a little bit because most of the time you'll see him with this dark background and you will see like this curtain behind him. Today, tukar feng shui sikit. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in my equal host of this show from Digital News Asia, Karam. Tengok dah tukar feng shui pun. Tengok sama now got earpiece all green color earpiece all. I think Karam is something happened during his vaccination that it's changing him, right? It's morphing him
No,
into this new
it
creature.
is the new normal.
This is the
I've
new
been
normal.
kicked out of my son's room because he's got a viral fever for over 1 week already,
Oh yeah, you mentioned
and
this,
so he says, "Don't come in my room."
right? So he's being safe, quarantining himself. So that's also a note to everybody. Just be safe out there, okay? I know you guys, most of us starting to get all our vaccinations, but no harm being very careful when you go out.
Yeah.
Keep those masks on, keep those shields on, and even we don't know what's going to be announced in the next 2 days, but even then, just be as careful as you can. In fact, watch the show. Just stay with us at home. That's the best thing to do. So, Karam,
For
let's start
now,
with
yes.
the pick of the week. HSBC Malaysia's digital black belt builds its future ready workforce. There's an encouragement for staff to innovate, apply a digital lens to find
Mm.
solutions or new opportunities. And they're actually investing US 40 million from this year all the way to 2023 for branches for digital upgrades. So, Karam, what's this story about?
Yeah, I think no, you always read about, right, companies saying that they need to go digital and they need to adapt, and of course it's a lot easier to just upskill your own talent than to try to hire people from outside, because there's a cost of acquisition and it's always more expensive to replace your people, right? So just a logical thing that all corporates know. So HSBC is now taking it to another next level, and they've actually incorporated, like you said, their digital a black belt program. And so this is actually a global initiative, and actually they've identified five technical and design skills, right, that they feel is key to the future of financial services. And the five are machine learning, cybersecurity, of course, right? You're in a banking environment, data analytics, then you've got software development, which I think is quite broad, right? Software development can be really from Linux all the way to C plus or R or Python or Snow, right? Which is the Apple. I think Apple's got its own language. They're called Snow something, Snowflake or whatever. Anyway, and also then these are technical, and then one is a design, right, which is user interface and experience. So they've globally identified these are five key areas for them being in the banking industry. So the Malaysian team has prioritized 3 of these skills for its upskilling, not all 5. And they've actually picked data analytics, and then data science, and then automation and machine learning. So data, normally most people say when you talk about big data or data analytics, right, you assume that data science is part of it, right? It's the higher level of data analytics. And I was saying, hey, people normally consider this as one. Why are you looking at it as 2 segments? And they explain why to them data analytics is actually a different skill from data science. So I won't, go down into that. You can read the article. But the main point is that this large corporation now is taking disruption and digital very seriously, and it wants to prepare its people for the workplace of the future. Right? When you say workplace, not like a physical, right? The work mindset also. So, and it feels that having very strong digital and then design, slash UX, right? User design skills is a key part of this. So it's starting this program. The first cohort is actually, I think, been chosen by the company itself, but subsequently their staff can choose, which of these 3 they want to go for. And I think there's an X period of time that you got to go through it, and when you finish, you get like a certificate, and so then you get to choose on your own. So that's kind of interesting. And they actually said that as these 3 streams are I won't use the word cohort, funny, but as you pick one of these 3 courses, right, to go through, they are assessing the courses as you're going through them to see whether they need to tweak and adapt the courses or not. And I think that's really very dynamic. Instead of waiting 1 year, end of the year, let's look back and see what works. They are trying to do it in real time so that it's more valuable and more relevant for their staff. And I think all corporates who are thinking of doing something should really adopt this mindset. And this is like a startup mindset, right? You adapt, as you go along, right? You iterate as fast as possible, and you to quickly identify weaknesses or mistakes. So this is really something admirable for a big company to do that. So that's why I wanted to highlight this as I think this is an interesting story for this week. So go and read it and see what you can pick up and learn. And this was they actually sent a press release, but I thought this is interesting enough for us to expand into an article. Then we asked them for some extra questions. This is why we got a lot more information and got some extra quotes from their head of HR also, whose name is Suguna. Let me get it right. Suguna Verumandi.
Right. Yeah, and so this is the area which us here at Leaderonomics we work in a lot. And this is something we're seeing. It's something we're seeing quite often, and some have started a lot earlier. Actually, we have worked with HSBC before, and this is not surprising because they've been looking at this for a while, and perhaps now there's a specific initiative towards this, and this is what we've been prepping everybody towards, and new ways of actually upskilling your workforce and making them future ready. And that's the key word there, future ready. And this mindset of not just having a static program, but an evolving program through the initiative is actually the way to go these days as well. So great on HSBC in that news. So if you want to find out more, like Karam said, you want to read more into the details of this article, or even more other articles, like there's some news on our previous guest, Karsam, we got middle of this week, which is on Digital News Asia as well. Go check that out. All on Digital News Asia. Catch up on what's happening in the world of tech throughout the week. All right. Okay. Now, actually, that's a good segue that we were talking about this article, because this whole future ready, future workforce thing is driven by, and this has been been spoken for decades now, right? Spoken for decades now, which is like the IR 4.0. IR 4.0 is something that is not coming, it is already here. It is something we're living through right now. But there's still a lot of questions around how are we going to navigate this, and not especially in the business level. So businesses have been thinking about this for a while, have been trying to adopt this, but at a national level, how do we actually navigate these things? So that's why today our first guest and on why national 4IR policy is needed. So let's welcome onto Tech Talk Friday, Dr. Zunika Bt Mohamed, the Deputy Director General Macro of the Economic Planning Unit. So Dr. Zunika, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nigesh. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for having me here.
No problem.
It's important. it's
Yes.
important to have you on, right? So you can explain, right, a lot more lucidly, and forcefully and with passion why we have our national, 4IR policy, because everybody is aware of digital. We always talk about digital, right? Been talking about it digital for decades, right? It used to be called multimedia, right? And then it's been digital. So 4IR, some people actually think that 4IR is a subset of digital, but after engaging with EPU and reading through the policy also, I find that the 4IR is actually the umbrella term, right? And digital is one subset. You've got the physical, and then you've got the biology also, right? In a sense, so biotech, so which is kind of interesting. So if you can we'll just start by giving you the first question, so you can answer, right? Which is, I guess, what are some of the highlights of the policy, right? That you wish to highlight.
Thank you, Karam, for asking me this question. Definitely, 4IR, as the government launched the 4IR policy in last July, is something that is important for the nation. And I would like to today highlight 4 key points for this policy. Initially, as you mentioned just now, that actually the 4IR has already been here with us. To take example, the blockchain technology for COVID-19 vaccine certification has been used. The use of AI application in our judicial system, and also the use of drone in our smart farming activities, as well as our gig economy, which is very, very much blooming right now, especially the e-hailing. So actually these are some of the components of the 4IR that has already been here. And realizing the importance of this 4IR technological development, government does develop a framework to guide our efforts in embracing this wave of technological development. And I would say that, in other words, it is for Malaysia to be ready to embrace this new technological development. And when we develop the 4IR technology, 4IR national policy, we have one vision in mind, of which is to have a balanced, responsible, and sustainable growth by leveraging technological adoption and innovation for good, i.e. for social, economic, and environmental well-being of our nation. And this policy actually is designed to be inclusive with 3 target groups, i.e. society, business, and also government. For the society, of course, it is the rakyat which will enjoy the improved quality of life.
Yep.
And for business, it is to become more productive, competitive, and innovative. And as for the government, it will have a technologically enabled government which will provide more efficient, effective, and modernized public services to the rakyat. So with this framework in mind, some outcomes that we envision under this policy by 2030, actually this policy is target to end in 2030.
Okay.
We will have 3 aspects of improvement in terms of our social well-being.
Okay.
Improvement in local capabilities, as well as ecological integrity. And with regard to social well-being, some of the targets that I would like to share is improvement in our Malaysia Wellbeing Index, to reflect the overall improvement in our society, the well-being of our society, from 124.4 points in 2018 to 136.5 points. And also increase in healthy life expectancy from 67 years old in 2019 to 72 years old in 2030. And also in terms of a reduction of 33% of travel time during confinement period. This is to improve time spent that can be allocated for better use. And in terms of technological capabilities, we are looking at to be in the top 20 in the Global Innovation Index.
Oh,
To improve productivity across all sectors in the economy by 30%, and also to have more high paid jobs. You just now you were discussing about preparing a nation for future
yes,
talent.
future proof,
This is
right?
very
Yeah.
relevant. And in terms of even our contribution to research and development, we want to have 3.5% in terms of including for IR related R&D activities.
That's
And
actually quite a lot.
yeah, in terms of ecological integrity, we are targeting top 50 in environmental performance index. And everybody knows in terms of our carbon emission, we have give our commitment to the Paris Agreement, of which we
Yeah.
want to reduce our GHG emissions intensity by 45% by the year 2030. So these are some of the key points that is very, very relevant to this new policy, Karam.
Okay, so I guess, Doctor, so it's great that there are you outline, right, the policy outlines certain targets to be achieved. Will this and because of the unfortunate reality of the political environment now, is it safe to say that even if there's a change in government, this policy will remain, and it's the administrative and the civil service, right, is focused on still achieving this, because as you say, the beneficiary is actually the public, right, the rakyat, businesses, and the government. So the top political leadership, whether it changes or not, the government is the same, right? The machinery, the people are the same, rakyat, and the businesses are also the same. So is that fair to say? Because some people may think, change government means new policy. So can you reassure us that will actually not happen?
Yeah, as for the government, I'm as a civil servant, we continue to provide service to the rakyat, as you said,
Yes.
regardless of the change in politics and whatever happened in the political side.
Yep.
Because we as the civil servant, we are actually try our level best to be apolitic. Meaning to say that we serve the government of the day,
Yep.
but
Yes.
I think in terms of the policy, the current policy of which in promoting the 4IR technology development, regardless of who rule the nation, I think this is important policy that
Yep.
we can see even in other countries, in Korea, in Singapore, in the rest of the
Yep.
world, they are
Well,
focusing on this aspect of
yes.
technological development. So
True.
I can say that I agree with you that this policy will continue regardless of what happened,
Okay.
I think.
Great, cool. Okay, let me just move on to the next, because there's so many things in the policy, but not overwhelming, lah, right? I like the 4 policy trusts, especially future-proofing regulations, Doc, to be agile, right? Because that is so important. Sometimes regulations get in the way, and I know that we have somebody here from we have one session on medical, right? Online, medical, advancements and all that. And one of the speakers was saying that some of our medical regulations are from 1960s, So clearly, right, we need to future-proof and we need to have agile regulation. So I'm glad to see that is one of the policy trusts here. So it's good that we are aware. Hopefully, we can quickly, make interventions to improve that. But anyway, my next question is actually, of course, people also worry about overlap, right? So is this policy overlapping with anything already out there, or you were conscious of that and you are trying to make sure that it gels things together?
Yeah, I think it's one of the major role of policy actually is to allow continuity and synergy. So in doing so, policy should not be contradict to each other, but actually to complement each other. So we can say that there will be some sort of overlapping, but not so much that it will disturb implementation as a whole. recall that we have various policies in place to drive changes in various aspects of our life. And this policy actually have different levels of purposes, and I think we should treat this policy as so. Take for example at the broadest level, the Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama 2030 lays the foundation for IR through digitalization. This WKB actually spells out the direction where Malaysia want to be as a prosperous, united and dignified nation by 2030. And in relation to 4IR, in this policy, the statement is made about how we should manage technological changes for the nation. So through this statement, we move to the next level, and the policy for IR policy actually is to expand that statement in this WKB. And with regard to the industry, I'm sure we are aware about the industry forward. Launched in 2018, and actually is related to 4IR as well. This policy actually complement the policy industry forward in terms of looking at a broader perspective, because under the industry forward is just focused on only one sector, the manufacturing sector only. And recently we also have Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint. You just mentioned about the how we should develop our digital economy, and this blueprint actually has a very close linkages with the 4R policy. So it is not duplicating in such a way that it contradicts to each other, but it's just to complement in each other. And very soon we will have our 12th Malaysia plan. This is another policy that will be coming up for our socio-economic development, and this policy will have this plan, the 12th Malaysia plan will have 4IR policy at the background to support the multidimensional objective of the 12th plan. So I think the key successful implementation of all this policy actually is the coordination. How do we streamline and how do we coordinate among all the various stakeholders in making sure that we work towards the same goal? And I think right now we are embarking on the concept of the whole of nation approach. I wish we want to ensure that everybody participate and work together for a common goal.
So that's actually my one question, right? How, Doctor, can the rakyat society benefit from this, and more important, what role must they play, right? I mean, to for them to be proactive, to be able to enjoy such benefits.
Yeah, I think in light of the economic situation, the impact of the COVID pandemic, and as well as the focus on the well-being of the rakyat, this policy actually is targeting jobs, which is critical in our discussion. And this is why education and talent actually form the core subject in this 4IR policy under the first policy thrust, equip the rakyat with the 4IR knowledge and skill set. And by way of saying rakyat, I mean existing workforce, graduating workforce, future workforce, latent workforce, and also the civil servant. So in order to reap the benefit from the development of this technology, everybody must be equipped with the right knowledge and skill for them to thrive. And altogether in this policy, there are 5 strategies and 12 initiatives in this trust that are identified to promote this objective of promoting jobs that are beneficial to the rakyat. And this I can cite, one is industry-led upskilling of workforce, equipping the next generation of workforce with skill set, especially in our education system. And also inculcate equal access to opportunity across the population in getting access to the right
Yep.
skill upskilling and opportunity like for job. And I think why the government is offering all this, it is the role of the rakyat actually to participate and not to miss out these opportunities. So that I think missing this opportunity actually means that you will be left behind.
Oh, dangerous. Yeah, correct. And the economic, gulf becomes bigger. Then,
Yeah.
correct. Okay. I guess then just quickly moving on to the last question I would have for you is that besides, right, what about businesses, right, and entrepreneurs? What role can they play? What role can they play to help make this policy a success? Not just everything rely on government, right? So what role you think they
Yeah.
should play?
I think we want to have a private sector as the engine of growth. And rightfully so, government see investment as the catalyst in achieving the aspiration under this policy. So the role of business, large and small, as well as aspiring entrepreneurs actually is important in driving change in the economic landscape of our country. And having said so, the role of MSME or micro, small, medium enterprises actually is very important as the backbone of our
Yes.
economy. They are now about 98% of this actually comprise of our total business establishment actually comprise 98% of these enterprises, and they contribute about 40% of our GDP. And right now, in general, they are in terms of the status, they are now low technology adoption among them.
Yes.
About 62.7% are still at early stage of digital maturity, to put some numbers. And even 82% of these companies have no web presence. So they also have limited access to financing.
Yeah,
So
of
in
course.
supporting business, this 4IR policy put in place under Trust 2, the importance of providing digital infrastructure that can support and promote investment. And under Trust 4, the focus is to accelerate technology innovation and adoption among these enterprises. So you have also mentioned about regulation. So we believe that forging future-proof regulation will also help this business to prosper, as well as to create more new economic business model that can adopt to the new technology. And so I would also like to share the initiative currently implemented to help these groups. I'm sure everybody know about the announcement about the 21 billion investment for 5G. This is definitely this 5G definitely will help to spur the growth of these enterprises, as well as the fast track implementation of Jendela in terms of providing infrastructure, not only in the urban area, but also in the rural
More
area.
important, yes.
Yeah. And also various packages under the stimulus package, Prihatin, Penjana, Pemberkasa. So all in all, it's going to improve the opportunity for the business to take this opportunity on board.
On board lah. Okay, great. So obviously there is stuff that the government is doing, and both, I think, society, individual members of society have to step forward, and businesses and entrepreneurs also have to step forward. So as so government has already stepped forward there, and hopefully you and your team at EPU continue to work hard, right, and and to push the envelope, right, and to make sure that everybody is working on the same page, right. So I'd like to thank you for your time and for joining us and for explaining these things. Nigesh, you have any closing thoughts?
No, I think something very important that you mentioned there, Dr. Zunika, because again, this is a space that is very familiar to me as well, especially when we're talking about getting the workforce, getting businesses ready for this. So something you mentioned there about the number of or the percentage of businesses, especially MSMEs who've adopted a digital strategy or a digital business, not as much as we thought they have. So that also means that there is that much more opportunity for us to go into this digital space, explore what are potential solutions, potential businesses, and potential work that can actually be created. So there's a lot more. So I think your urge there to everybody who's listening in is an important urge as well. I think everyone should upskill, find your way to actually become more digital ready, and then reach out, because that's how policy also can be made. Policy also can match what we're doing as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Zunika, for that. I think that urging is a powerful urging that you had at the very end there. Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
we will have you again at the end just to wrap up again. So if you could hold on, and once we're done with the second guest, we'll bring you both on together. Thank you so much, Dr. Zunika. All right. So a little bit there on what the country is doing for IR 4.0, and especially the economic planning unit. So hope that was informative to everyone there. But now we're going to move on to our second guest. There's been some big news that Karam's been sharing about this guest of ours and the company that she's coming from. I think one thing that struck me last week when Karam mentioned this was, and I keep on repeating this, how long this one person has been either a founder or someone who's involved in starting up. I mean, that's still amazing, right? And how long she's been doing it, how many times she's been doing it, and all the lessons that she probably learned along the way. And hope we can harness a little bit of that when we speak to her in a few moments. So I want to introduce her. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, your virtual hands together, for Haslinda Alias, Group CEO of Gogopasar. And what we're going to talk to her about is Gokupasa tackles online groceries. Hi there, Lynn. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Good.
Okay,
Nice
very
cap
good,
that
Lynn.
you have over there.
She's learned from Tony Fernandez lah. Must have the branding.
There's nothing can associate me to this. Possibly, normally, it's always the young ones. So I'm actually in real life a grandma already.
What?
Right. Wow.
Wow.
This is a compliment. I couldn't tell. I thought you're a.
Yeah.
As far as I go, I'd say that you're a mom, but I wouldn't say grandmother. But wow.
Very, very. Even when we interviewed her, also Nigesh, she was just very bubbly and upbeat and passionate and enthusiastic. So amazing to think that, which is great. You set a good example for everyone, right? Who wants to be an entrepreneur? It's your mindset, your desire, your hunger. So come, let's just get straight into the questions. And look, can you tell us what pain point you were trying to solve? And also, where do you feel you have progressed in solving that pain point?
Okay, in the beginning, when we first started Gokupasa, it was based on ideation. I was actually already exited one of my companies that was back in 2019. And at that time, it was about, like you said, you mentioned that, it was about personal shopping. I realized that some of the seafood and things like that, the things that are selling on at the supermarket are not as fresh as we anticipated. So when I brought back some fish and then I fried it, and it was just not fresh. And then you probably need to go to the premium supermarket, and then you see like, okay, these are fresh, these ones are fresh, but you have to pay a premium price for it. So where do you go? The middle range, right? So I mean, we who lives in KL, we don't have time to go to Pasar Borong to get to Borong lah to buy all these things and haggle the price with all these petty traders and things like that. So these were the time when the light bulb came in, like, hey, perhaps this is an opportunity, this is a space where I could come in. But at that time, it was not really thinking about. I always have like 1,001 ideas every day that comes in. Hey, I want to solve this, I want to solve that. But that was all personal choice. It's like I want to have affordable, fresh goods at meaning that it's been at quality, so I don't want it to be, I want other people also to be able to enjoy that as well.
Okay, cool. All right.
And
understood.
also and you're saying that what have we come so far? So when we had these collaborations and investors coming from FGV,
Yep.
whereby they have provided us some kind of infra and network as well that would be able to supply us or guarantee us the supply of these fresh goods, the distribution center, and a lot of these other infra that normally a common startup would not be able to have. So these are the things I think we've come this far. The investment came in last year, end of September. It was like my birthday, so I was like, "Yay, my birthday present!" And then, so I was like, okay. And then we started like October, November, trying to roll out, the budget and how do we go about trying. We still consider ourselves bootstrapping. I think in a startup.
Really? Hey, you raised 10 million ringgit lah. Where to bootstrap?
Bootstrap. We have to make it last longer and make sure that we spend the money at the the right program and the right expenses and capex. I think we shouldn't be too careless. These are the things I always seen. Of course, I would like to buy a Ferrari. Sorry, but not yet. Of course, not yet. Yeah. So all those can be later. Yeah. So anyway, so we focus in terms of budgeting it, so to make it last longer and to see whether we can actually expedite our break-even point. So whether we can, that's actually is very critical in terms of when can we get our money back. It's not like when we use the money, that's it, it's just gone. We need to consider that the fact that we need to be able to give back the ROI to our investor.
Yeah. So you talk like a very seasoned entrepreneur, Nigesh. Somebody who said already 20 over businesses that she has launched. So that's it.
No, but one thing I picked up also is the curse of an entrepreneur, where you have 1,001 ideas any 1 second, and you're trying to decide which one shall I do today and now. And also, I'd say, Lynn, not bootstrap. That's called being frugal.
You have to be, you have to. Yeah, in whatever it is, it's like you have to be kedekut lah. Whatever you want to do, you really go into every single. I know that my CFO is having like hard time. I said, no, we're not buying this now. We're going to do it later. It's all a strategic buying, So
no, it's hard to do. So by the way, those who don't know about that, because Lynn got invested in by FGV, as which is under the Felda Global Group, right? And they took just slightly over 51 or 52%. For 10 million ringgit, right? Investment. And Lynn was being very transparent, because normally people would say, I raised 10 million. They don't tell you what was the equity they gave up in return. But credit to her, she laid it out there for us. It's 52%. And being very transparent, open. And entrepreneurs can learn from this experience also. They can call her and say, hey, why did you do this? Why did you do that? So thank you for sharing that, which no other, very, very few entrepreneurs will share. So it's a very good point for discussion for entrepreneurs also. So thank you so much. Now you mentioned that you're CFO and you're trying to be very prudent with the money, and I think it's a smart thing, because my next question is that there are some strong players in the market already, right, in Malaysia. You talk about Grab, that is probably a small business for them, and you've got Happy Fresh, which just raised $65 million out of Indonesia. Of course, they're in 3 countries. Malaysia is one of the 3 countries. So, some of that money is going to be invested here to strengthen their value proposition. So, and you've got a Tesco, which is very, it's an incumbent player, right? So they've already got the logistics, the supply chain, very strong cash flow from their existing brick and mortar business. So you're competing guys like this, and then of course you've got My Grocer also, right? My Grocer. So some significant players there. So how are you competing with them, and what do you feel? Have you been able to create a differentiator for your product?
Okay. One of the things that we are doing currently is actually engaging with GoGo Partners. We create GoGo Partners as our GoGo Partners community.
Hey, it sounds like a dance group. Don't tell me you're like entering America's Got Talent or Asia's Got Talent.
I'll be honest with you, the word Gokupasa came from that lah. You need to like go, like go and get it done, like go double the, something like that. So GoGo Partner, you just make it a bit more catchy, easier for some of the people who are needed to have an extra income. All these talking about the Klang Valley, we're starting with the Klang Valley. So we have the GoGo Partners who would be our resellers.
Oh, resellers.
So,
Okay, okay.
yeah, resellers in terms of digital marketing. So they become our promoter or marketing agents on ground. So they're the one who have all these close WhatsApp group. We don't have that close WhatsApp group. So they do. They have the community. Let's say they are Persatuan Taman so or Persatuan Kondo so or alumni. Those are the things actually which for not easy for a player like us to come in
Yeah.
unless we have
Yes.
someone there. Yeah, they have to be paid or they has to be incentivized actually in terms of whether they want to sell on behalf of Gogopasar. They don't really have to carry the Gogopasar barang. So this is actually very lean and mean kind of business model. So which means like they would be able to sell on behalf of Gogopasar, get to the market. So we, at the same time, be able to do away with the lesser marketing budget. So in order for us to go to market, so these are the things I think we are going slightly different than the Happy Fresh or all the other industry players in the same space.
Yeah, because they are spending on digital marketing to try to reach the market. So you are in a way trying to use your Gogopreneurs, right?
Yeah.
To become your brand spokesperson or your champions, right? At maybe in Selayang or somebody, right? Or you said neighborhood. So like even in my neighborhood WhatsApp group, there are like almost 280 people, right? So
Yeah,
if you
correct.
can get somebody and of course people start marketing this home kitchen or I make this, I make that. So you're right. So your person could say also that anybody wants to buy, right? You can reach me or whatever, right? I'll be your
Exactly.
go-to
So
person.
I mean, you would definitely when you are in a WhatsApp group. So that's like a trusted person inside your WhatsApp group. So if you have your uncle or your auntie selling, wouldn't you want to buy it from them? Okay, or your neighbor selling. So it's a lot easier to buy from someone you trust. So that trust has been developed. At the same time, so there will be lesser work on our side to actually penetrate the market.
So you're saying that is your differentiator, lah? Because interesting you mentioned that because so it's not products, right? Because I went to a few online grocery, right? And I was quite struck by the experience because you're thinking of e-commerce. So I'm wondering if people are like me, if you go to Amazon or you go to some global sites, right? And then even Lazada is very good. And then you suddenly come to the grocery sites and then you see the product description is not good or whatever. And I'm saying, hey, this is the best they have come up with. So you're quite struck by that. And so it makes you realize also that the online grocery business is very difficult because margins are already very low. Because you're really just a digital middle person, right? No matter what, margins are low. And then you got to compete like this. So I really admire you in going there. And for Felda also in seeing value in this, but Felda I guess saw value not at the front end. They probably also saw you as a way to accelerate their own digitalization, right? Their back end processes, right? So you were two pronged for them, back end and also front end, so they get like a sexy branding, for their digital strategy. We invest in Gokupasa, and we got dynamic CEO there. But we also want to do the boring stuff back end and the more sexy stuff front end. But margins are low.
Yeah. So by having Gogopasa on board, we would be able to go to market in a less conventional way like that what normally FGV would do. So we are sort of like breaking the mold. So we are going towards the other way and trying to sort of like promote, let's say the brand like Saji. They also have like dairy products like Bright Cow. And FGV also have another division called FGV Integrated Farming. So they promoting the latest product is actually scented rice, single origin. So these are the things I think they are thinking about what platform to go to. So who will be doing this? So and at the same time, when the previous CEO Dato' Harith believed that in order for any digital companies to be able to do well, they believe that the person has to be full commitment. That's why they choose an entrepreneur to actually run the subsidiary instead. So
Cool. Turn back. Very good. Okay, come. Let's move on to the next question, which is: do you feel there's any societal, impact to what Gokupasa is doing?
Yes, we actually been doing a lot of CSR. For example, we have our MCO3 packs that we are offering to the during the White Flags recently, right? So we launch a program that the public can actually buy the packs, and we actually prove to them that we deliver to those in need. So we work with. Yeah, we work with the council, we work with the Majlis Agama. So I think in the first 2 weeks, we were like, our warehouse was packed with good Samaritans who actually bought the package. And we were delivering over like 500 packs. This is actually, one thing good about this, it's actually public initiative, So you don't have to work for government, not a hands out. Yeah, so it's like we have one lady who's like every day buying something, and that was like on our side we were so taken back by her keen to help out, so we identified there's actually a lot of people out there who love to help others as well, but they just don't know how. And this way we can prove that the items that they bought are with we send them back along with the image and the pictures, and to justify that the item has been delivered to the right people.
Cool. Okay, just one quick question before we move. We probably bring in both guests. Is that talk about expansion strategy quickly, Lynn? What's the game plan to exit? So right now you're very much Klang Valley focused still, as all the other online grocers are also.
Okay, in terms of our expansion, of course, we are intending to go outside Klang Valley, but with the help of FGV, which actually they have various locations that can act like a DC. If you know one of the e-commerce platform in China called Miss Fresh, they have over 1,000 DCs all over China. So this is actually to make sure that
DC, distribution center, right?
Sorry, distribution center, correct? Yeah. So where you can consolidate all the items and pick and pack there. Yeah. So you need that in order to make this whole groceries business work. So this is actually with the help of the infra from FGV, whereby they have a lot of they call it Gugusan Feldas and things like that, and they have all these warehouses situated everywhere all over the countries that would be able to give us the space that we want, or the facilities, the infra that we want to operate this DC later on, which actually in near future, which is that we're planning to do it aggressively towards other states by 2022. Yeah.
Okay, but 2022 is 12 months. When you say aggressively, I mean Q1 of 2022. I'm trying to pin you down here.
Yeah, it's business as a startup. We're always planning. Whatever we want to do, we plan 5 years ahead. So sometimes we can move it earlier, or sometimes we can move it later. It's all about funding. Karamjit, you know that, right? When we have the money, then we can actually expand and very fast.
Okay, so you do have the money, so I'm going to say it for you. You are planning to expand fast. Your competitors better watch out. They're going to be left behind.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So let's. I've got actually one thought that I want to sort of bounce off with you, Lynn. But first, let's bring in Dr. Zunika back again to join us in this forum. So perhaps, Karam, if you have a final question for Dr. Zunika, there was actually some questions appearing in the comments. I will reveal them. That's the other thing that I'll ask Dr. Zunika as well, how they can contact you or how they can contact your department if they would like some answers for that. But first to Lynn, I mentioned this with Karam because we were talking when we were shooting the teaser middle of the week. He was actually telling me about his experience of going on these sites for purchasing groceries and all that kind of thing, and he asked me like, have I done it? And I told him that I've actually stayed away from it because one of my pet peeve experiences is every time I want to purchase something and I want to say book when to send, I can never get a date. It keeps on saying that no trucks available or no delivery available on this date. And finally, I decide that, you know what? I'd rather just go to the shop and buy it myself. So my question to you, or my thought to you, and how do you want to solve this? Because that societal impact question again, one part of it, I think you got it superbly right, which is the way we go to the market near our house is because either my mom told me about it, or my friend told me about it, or my neighbor told me about it. So you're doing that neighborhood thing, which is great. But how do you solve this problem? Because as more and more people, and especially now, we're living these times where it's not exactly the safest to go to a market to get fresh goods. It's a busy space. We want to try to keep away from crowds. How do you solve this problem? How do you solve people getting their groceries, which are immediate need goods, now, here, on time?
Yeah. Okay. We have currently what we promise our customers that we deliver the next day. So they have to place the order before 10 o'clock. So the next day they will get their orders by hook or by crook. They'll get there. So in the last like 8 months that we've been doing this, and we have not failed in terms of delivering it the following day. So we are moving towards on demand. So we are trying to test whether we could actually do this on demand as well. The minute we are expanding our SKUs and our overheads in terms of our general workers who's going to be doing the packing, and as well in terms of the logistics side, when we get all the barang-barang come into the warehouse, the fresh items coming from all the farms and things like that, the minute we can actually solve these issues, then definitely if you to order, you can get it within 2 or 3 hours. So we would like to emulate the current, like Amazon, who has been doing it. Of course, their infra is super. You have to invest in infra for sure. So we are moving towards that, and hopefully, we'll be able to compete with other unicorns.
Right. I look forward to that, because I think that will be the game changer for you.
Yes.
And yes. Okay. So Karam, do you have anything that you wanna?
I've got two quick questions for Dr. Zunika. I guess Dr. Zunika, first question is yes or no. Do you buy groceries online or you don't?
Right now, I'm trying to move away from going to the market myself to buying online. But so far, I have somebody that can help me deliver the goods without actually keying the order online.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's a hybrid of ordering online and getting it delivered.
Okay, fine. Because I struggle with that. I just now was at the supermarket for a short while, but I'm very aware of how dangerous it is now. So I hate this feeling, right? That you feel it's dangerous to go to the supermarket. Although it was like 3:30 or 4 o'clock just now. I quickly went before, after 5 office hours, people must know. But I still felt vulnerable. And my wife also, last weekend, I managed to convince her no more going in, because she will go on a weekend morning, right, for 2 hours. Although she's aware of the risk, I said we're being irresponsible as parents, and you're being irresponsible as a wife. I'm being irresponsible as a husband. So even aware of that, I just now went because I thought I could quickly do a quick one. So I know it's difficult. I understand where you're coming from, but I hope more people do that, at least for this time period, right, where the virus is so prevalent in the Klang Valley, we got no choice. So, but I know it's difficult. I hope we can change. I'm just being honest. While I talk about e-commerce, for this one, I struggle with it, but we are trying to make sure we don't. But coming back to my second question which is the more important question, Dr. Zunika, as you have heard Haslinda Alias talking, is there anything that strikes you? Hey, our 4IR policy can help her there, or maybe there's a gap that we need to address, or something. Anything that when you listen to her that struck you as top of your mind?
Yeah, thank you for the question, and thank you, Lim, for sharing with us today. I know, Lee, I'm in the board of FGV.
I didn't know that. What a coincidence. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, definitely, what Lin is doing actually is part of the government program. I mean, in promoting entrepreneurship. We have actually a program to promote startup in our policy, both in this 4IR policy as well as in the digital blueprint policy. So in a way, actually, what Lead is doing actually is very much in line with the policy drive of the government in making sure that we want to go ahead with adoption of technology. And as Lynn mentioned just now, Lynn is lucky because FGV stepped in giving her the needed capital for her to expand the project. And as for other entrepreneurs, there are funds available out there actually to help them in doing whatever they want to do, similar to what Lynn is doing right now.
Okay, so I guess I would disagree with you. I don't think Lynn is lucky. Lynn is just very good, I think. So that's why FGV gave it. Yeah, not lucky. Because she made her own luck there. Okay, but thank you very much for sharing. I'll let you, Nigesh, have closing thoughts then.
Yeah, I think that's the common term that we hear. Luck is you working hard to find many opportunities. Yeah. So I think, Lynn, you worked really hard to find many opportunities, and FGV was one of them. So before we kind of wrap up, there were some questions that came in comment. I don't think we have the time to answer them, but maybe we can show up those ones. We have some. David is actually a guy who watches us quite a bit on YouTube. So thanks, David, for your questions. And these may be some hard questions here, but predominantly what David is asking Dr. Zunika here is we had the MDAC chairman previously, and actually one of the key things is about KPIs, scorecards, how we're going to trace all these kind of things. So his question actually comes in the follow-up comment, which is perhaps you can answer them in a different forum, would be, so how will this policy help? And David came back again and also asked another question. He was actually talking about what you mentioned about leapfrogging sectors. So actually looking at it, the E&E semiconductor sector, it has been struggling with tech growth, and especially with low-skilled foreign employees. Why do you think so? So maybe to answer these questions, if David wants to reach out to you, how can he do that? Where can we be able to contact you?
Yeah, I would like to thank David for the questions. I will take this offline, David. Please contact me at ukk@epu.gov.my so we can elaborate more detailed information and share views on the question that you have asked.
Okay, that's ukk@epu.gov.my.
Yeah.
Okay, and we will leave that in the comment as well, David, so that you can reach out and ask that question. All right. Okay, there you go. It's actually appeared on screen as well. So take that down, David. Please go ahead and reach out so that you can get your questions answered. And then this is probably half compliment, half question. Lynn, perhaps later on you want to answer this. This is from actually Shashi. The comment here is really has the hustle vibe. #GoGo. There you go. You got someone's hashtag for you already. Speaking of hustling, how do you implement new strategies during these kind of uncertain times? And I'm pretty sure all those ideas firing off in your brain, thinking of what can we do when we are stuck at home, right? Because you never know what will change from time to time. So perhaps, Shashi, you want to reach out directly to Lynn on LinkedIn or anything like that? Or Lynn, if you later on want to reach out to Shashi and answer that question. All right. Okay, so as we wrap up, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining the show. Thank you to both our guests, Dr. Zunika and also Lynn. And as we wrap up the show, if you want to find out more about the weekly, daily digital tech news, go on to Digital News Asia. Drop by there. You'll find out all the news on tech that is happening in especially Malaysia and this region. If you want to find out, and I think this came very close to my heart when we started talking about IR 4.0, getting the future workforce ready. And that's what Necole is all about for corporations and organizations. So go on to Necole.tech and find out how we can help your organization get your workforce ready in this digital age using digital solutions. And actually, to talk about that a little bit more, there's a campaign week we're going to be running, and this is also in collaboration with MDAC and part of it as well. This is a Make a Shift campaign because we're aware that there's a lot of shifts that need to happen in organizations. There's a lot of business challenges that are happening. How can you make these shifts in all these different aspects? We've got 5 aspects that we're going to cover over 2 weeks, and they're going to actually come across to you in different live sessions in all our platforms. So do join us when this campaign starts kicking off. We really hope to share thoughts with you and help you with what's going on. All right. With that, we'd like to say happy Friday, everybody. Rest, take care, be safe, and have a wonderful weekend from all 4 of us here at Tech Talk Friday.
And we had a bit of a psychedelic experience with Lynn's colors changing back and forth. But it's perfect because I'm going to be watching The Spy Who Shagged Me from 1999, Mike Myers.
Oh,
so setting me up for the movie.
So I've got this likes I use for my IG, Instagram. So they just
Right.
No.
Okay.
Good. Very different.
All right, then. Thank you, everybody. And thank you from all 4 of us here at Tech Talk Friday.
Okay,
Take care.
bye-bye.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.